All right, hello, thank you, and welcome. Bradley Lenart here, the author of The Happiness Factors and CEO of Bradley Life Systems. Today, we're going to do a quick video and a basic overview on the importance of a morning ritual for you. Now, I'm not going to get too involved as to what I think you should be doing for a morning ritual. I'll get more into it in some of my other videos, and I'll give you a structure of what I think you should be doing in some of my upcoming programs, like my books, ebooks, and Kajabi programs. So be on the lookout for that, and I can't overstress the importance. This is one of the most integral pieces of my own self-development, something that really changed my own life. And these little daily habits, these ways of doing things, can really get you to be more productive, help you tap into more purpose, and also passion, purpose, and meaning, and live a lifestyle that I call living full throttle. That's living on all 8 cylinders, being your best self, knowing where you're going, living a life, passion, purpose, and meaning, being on point, and most of all, just happiness. You know, these habits are not taught in the modern day school systems, and if you really do the research, and if you really study some of the greatest minds that's ever lived, there's always some kind of like parallel with the habits and principles and ideas that people like Tony Robbins or Brendon Burchard or myself like to get out there. And it's not by default that these people have also some kind of morning ritual. And whether it be on purpose or by default, all the people I've ever known personally who've achieved greatness, like one of my good friends, Bruce Francisco, is an author, speaker, millionaire, and entrepreneur. You know, as I started to get deeper into like what he does daily as far as some of his habits and the things that he does in his life and that kind of thing, I began to dig deeper. And of course I found that yes, by default, he does in fact have his own little form of morning ritual. Now it's not like a real traditional one like what I teach here or what I teach in my programs, but he does it in his own little way. And you know, Bruce is heavy into meditation and nature and that kind of thing. So, you know, I did find out that yes, he in fact every single morning he gets out into nature one way or another. He lives by the shore here in Connecticut, so it's easy for him to just like do a nice little walk on the beach, and he'll do like a jog on the rocks out there, and that'll be his like form of exercise in the morning. And then he'll sit there for a good 20 to 30 minutes in meditation, and that's his way to like compartmentalize the day. You know, it's his way to set himself out on the right course, hitting the ground running, and that's his own little morning ritual. So I can't overstress, whoever you are, that this is the best like investment of your time, best investment of your potential. And a lot of people say, you know, Brad, I may not have like the time for a morning ritual in the morning. Well, the thing is, if you actually take the time, this saves you an immense amount of time, focus, and energy in the long run because you're hitting the ground running. Because in society today, you know, it's like really set up in such a way so that most people are just completely distracted. You know, and whenever like we're just like whenever a human being is like too distracted, or if they're not living their full potential, if they're either too inactive or too distracted, that means they're off balance one way or another, and usually comes off in other ways, like let's say depression, or just not being completely happy. And a lot of people will wonder why they're not feeling totally happy or why they get into these cycles of depression. It's because they're not in balance completely. And I see this like through like 90 to 95% of the people that I come across daily, because it's conditioned in our society. And these simple habits, these principles are not taught like I said, in the modern day school system, so people miss this. And you know, someone might be doing well as far as what people see on the outside, but deep down they have some things that just really are not working for them. It's dragging them down, and they're struggling, and it shouldn't be that way. Life should be lived in such a way so definitely people are on point, they know where they're going, they're on purpose, passion, and meaning, and completely joyful. And a lot of people these days are self-medicating with things like alcohol, which is not really a bad thing if you do that. I'm not here to put you down for that, but for me it's personally toxic. And for somebody who's not happy 100% and it's like a gray area for them, like let's say they're in a job that they kind of like, but they're not really like living their purpose, you know, they've kind of accepted it. What they're doing is they're supplementing the fact that they're not 100% happy deep down by distracting themselves with something like alcohol or even like social media. That in itself is like a drug. Could be anything. Could be friggin' YouTube videos. And not to say anything bad about social media. It's always done well for me, like Facebook and Instagram has always helped me. But you know, I'm different. I use those platforms as a tool for business to help people get my message out, to spread a message for the greater good instead of distraction, you know, to help people with philanthropy and that kind of thing. So you know, a lot of people abuse it just to distract themselves so that they can feel better. And recently I was just dating a girl, I didn't really know her that well, but now we're just friends. And, you know, when we were dating, I started to get to know her a little better. I started to notice she was literally like on her phone, like constantly. And I found out that she was literally on Facebook like 18, 19 times per day. You know, the messages and the distraction in that. Just think about the amount of time, focus, and energy that is completely robbed from her by doing that. So we want to remember, first of all, that time, focus, and energy is our greatest resource, period. This is your life. You know, there's only a certain amount of time, focus, and energy that's been given to you. The average American life expectancy is about 76 years. Women tend to live a little bit longer, and that's your life. And your life is made up of these resources. You know, you only have a certain amount of time, focus, and energy to put toward your dreams and goals and however you want to design your life, toward your relationships, toward getting your money right, or whatever is most important to you. However you want to create your life, there's only a certain amount of time, focus, and energy. So you have to be continuously trying to protect this resource, these resources, rather than other people like dragging you around with their agenda, with things like on Facebook or Instagram, or distracting you in other ways. You know, whatever is right for you, we also have to set up in such a way so that we have the proper habits, so that we hit the ground running and we're really moving toward what we really want in life. And there's only a certain amount of time, focus, and energy we have. These are our three greatest resources as a human being, period. And it's not by default society is set up in such a way where these resources are constantly being drained from people. So if you really want to tap your potential, and whether it's just like music, cooking, dancing, maybe you're a model, an actor, maybe you're somebody who wants to take care of animals, you're like a caretaker. Maybe you want to be a veterinarian, or the best veterinarian in your area. Whatever your passion is, wherever you're going, whatever you're doing, if you want to be the very best you can be in that particular area and tap your full potential, you got to understand your three greatest resources have to be optimized every single day, and the very best way to do that is a good morning ritual. Morning rituals set you on course, put you on a path. It's your GPS for the day. And you know, it gets you knowing where you want to go. It's your map. It's like as far as your dreams and goals. And in addition to that, it just helps your psychology. We're talking about mental health here. You know, there's a hierarchy, there's a scale as far as mental health is concerned. And of course, you know, there's 1 through 10. If you're positive and going, you know, you're at a 10. Let's say you're into religion and God, you're into some kind of spirituality or some kind of meaning, you have desire and meaning and purpose and passion for your life, you're at a 10 or 11. You know where you want, things are going okay, things may not be exactly perfect, but your relationships are okay, you're in this area. And then of course, these people are like more negative, that kind of complain about life, and they're a little bit down here on the 6 or 7 level. This is mental health I'm talking about here. So these simple little habits can completely revolutionize the way you think, the way you look at things, the way your brain compartmentalizes situations, you know, the way it frames things. Like it could use a situation that may be of a negative situation in the past, and instead of that like bringing you down, you use it as like a learning experience, something that could bring you forward rather than something that's going to beat you. Your state of mind is everything. And if you have that state of mind, you have passion, purpose, and meaning by hitting the ground running, by doing a morning ritual, it affects your entire life. So, what should we be doing as far as a morning ritual is concerned? Well, I'm going to show you a little bit of what I do. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. It's not very detailed here. I'll get more into that in some of my other videos, like I said. So be on the lookout for that, and we'll get very detailed in some of the programs, like on Kajabi I'll be providing over the next year or so. So once again, be looking out for that on my website. I'll also be giving a lot of free content away on Facebook and YouTube, and help people structure their life in such a way so that they can really be most optimized. And talk about this most important morning ritual. What I do is I get up really early. I go to bed early. And those of you know me personally, you know I used to be in a rock band. I was a lead singer, and we toured a USO tour through a bunch of countries: England, Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Holland, Belgium. We went all through Europe, all through Italy and all that, and that was a lot of fun, but after a while I just didn't jive with the lifestyle. You know, I really couldn't be out playing late like that and doing that kind of thing. And when people are drinking, and not that there's anything wrong with alcohol. If you drink, I'm not here to make you wrong. But for me, it's toxic, and I know it helps a lot of people relax and that kind of thing. I'm not here to put that down, but it can be very toxic for your body, and I really don't want to be associated with anything that really has that involved with it. And that's a lot of the reason why I got away from music, because there was other things I wanted to pursue in life. Yes, music was great, and I was able to help people, and it gave me a way to influence people that way as a lead singer. But it was really robbing me of some of the other things I wanted to get into, like flying helicopters or writing books and the things that I'm doing here now. Just being an influencer. My biggest dream was to get the word out to the masses and help people live their greatest life, their greatest version of themselves. So I started going to bed early, and I cut the music. And right now my greatest mission is helping people. So no more music. Started going to bed early. And went to bed about 9 o'clock. And that did well for me for a while, but I started to realize that I needed to get to bed even earlier so that I had more time to work on stuff in the morning. So initially I went to bed about 9 o'clock, something like that. That was early. I'd get up about 3 a.m. That's like 6 hours of sleep, not bad. And the first thing I do is I start writing. And I started to realize I wanted to do more work on my websites and more writing and all that. And those morning hours are the spiritual hours. I don't know how much you're into spirituality, but I really do believe that the universe can really give us answers if we listen. And these are the hours that you can really get some answers, and you can really get in tune. So whenever I get up between like 2 and 6 a.m., that's when I'm really at my best. That's when I really get those answers and things really channel through me. And I'm really just in line, in the moment. Because most people are at sleep. It's the quietest time of the day. And that's really when I do my best. So the first thing you need to do is get up earlier. You don't have to get up as early as I do, 2 a.m. I go to bed at 8 now, and I get up at 2, which serves me during the week. It may not serve you, but get up earlier so you can do this morning ritual, okay? At least a half hour to an hour earlier so you can do this. It's very important. Now remember, you may say, I may not have time for that. The thing is, you don't have the time not to do this, because what I'm trying to say is, if you do this and let's say it takes a half hour to do your morning ritual, it will literally save you probably 4 hours at the end of the day, because you're more on purpose. You're living passion, purpose, and meaning. You know your direction, and most people don't do this, and that's why they don't have the edge. That's the way they get caught up in distraction of other people's drama and that kind of thing. So the first thing I do when I wake up is I grab my gallon of water. In fact, I have it right here. When we sleep, our body is continuously flushing out toxins, and I drink a gallon of water a day. It's very important. You ever notice like when you wake up, you get like this eye goo in the corner of your eyes? What that is, that's toxins. That's your body flushing out toxins as you're sleeping. So the most important thing you can do as soon as you wake up is continue that process by drinking water and flushing your system out. So have water by your bedside. I set that up the night before. I usually leave a gallon the day before in my refrigerator, and then I have it by my bedside so that I have it in the morning. And I continue that process, just flushing the system out, draining stuff out of the body, and it's very, very important. The second thing you want to do is you have to have your top 5 goals written out by the side of your bed so you can look at those goals. And what you do is you look at those goals. Okay, so let's say your top 5 goals that you want for the next 2 years. And I make sure they're very specific, and then they're put in the present tense in almost like a, like a quote form. So let's say hypothetically my first goal is to be financially free as a speaker and an online marketer and an influencer. And let's say I want to make $2.3 million doing that. Okay, that's my goal. It's my first goal. I'll write it out in such a way where it says, I, Brad Lenart, am making an income of $2.3 million per year as a speaker, author, influencer, and online marketer. And I'll read that. I'll read it 3 or 4 times. Again, it's said in the present tense. I, Brad Lenart, am making, I am earning, I am doing, whatever your name is, Joe Smith, I, Joe Smith, am earning, am doing, am making, am creating, whatever it may be in the present tense. You make it like a phrase, then you visualize it. Now the important thing about visualizing is you got to make sure you do it so like you feel the feelings, almost like you're there, like you can smell the smells. And when you visualize it, you want to visualize it in color to the point where you just really feel like you've jumped into that universe, almost like you've jumped into a different reality, like you're really there. And you do this every single morning. I'll visualize myself as an internet marketer, influencing people around the world, really killing it online. Someone like Tony Robbins or Brendon Burchard, some of these guys that I really have at the top killing it. And I visualize that so much that I can almost taste it. And what that does is that activates a part of the mind known as the RAS, the reticular activating system. The RAS is a part of the brain that filters your reality. And every single day there's so much information coming in. There's so much around you that you could take in. But there's only so much information your brain can focus on at any like one given time. And especially like if you live in America, there's so much opportunities around you, but what determines whether or not you act on those opportunities or see them is your beliefs. And your beliefs affect your RAS, your reticular activating system. So the reticular activating system is almost like a little doorway, and it lets in information in and out. Okay, so there could be something in front of you that you literally don't see because your belief is blocking it out. That's called a scotoma. So like recently I was just driving with my mother, and my mother tends to be like perpetually negative, and when she's driving she gets like really nervous. And I'll never forget this because I was in the passenger seat, and she was driving, and she was like, again, she had like this scotoma. A scotoma is a blind spot in your psychology and your thinking, and it's a situation where a person will have such a deep conviction and a belief about something that it literally blocks out your reality. I remember we were driving up to the store, and she was all nervous, and she's like saying, "Oh, I'm not going to get a parking space. I just know it. There's no parking spaces here. I got a bad knee, and I'm going to have to walk across the parking lot, and it's going to be horrible." And she kept saying it almost like a mantra. This negative, perpetual negative cycle, all stressed out. There's no parking spaces. I know it. And lo and behold, as we started driving up close to the store, there was 2 perfect parking spaces right in front. And as we went closer, I said, "Mom, there's one right here. You see that?" And she just drove right by it. I looked at her, and I'm like, "There's one right there." And she wouldn't listen to me. She just kept saying, "There's no parking spaces. I'm going to have to walk, and my knee hurts." And although she heard what I said, her brain did not recognize it. She literally didn't hear it because she had this heavy belief that she kept like just reinforcing with emotion that there was no parking spaces. She'd have to walk on her bad knee. So she literally created her reality and blocked out what was real. And I said, "Mom, there's one right there." We're driving by it, and she didn't even hear me. Then we went over to the second parking space, which was even closer, and she would say, "Oh, there's no parking spaces. I'm going to have to pay for parking, and I can't walk, and it's going to hurt, and I'm going to have to get a cart, and this and that." Typical mom. She's always complaining, and that's why I'm so much today influenced by self-development, because I had to like fix all this negative reinforcement that was driven into my brain as a kid. So. And it's been good for me. It's all right. But, I said, "Mom," I said the same thing. "There's one right there." And she kept just complaining. "There's no parking spaces. I'm going to have to walk on my bad knee." And she just drove right by it. She didn't see it. She physically did not see the parking spaces that I was pointing out to her. So what can we learn from this? Well, she was focused on the fact that there wouldn't be any. And she literally created that as her own reality. Now, this happens to everybody at some level. Some way. It's a psychological term known as a scotoma. It's a blind spot in your thinking. So if you have a belief about life or opportunities or relationships or work or money, let's say there's no work, there's no money, life is hard. When you reaffirm these convictions, they become so strong, you secure them with emotion. And there could be opportunities for a good relationship right in front of your face, but you literally will not act on it because you won't see it. Because your brain can only focus on a certain amount of information at any given time. And that's the reticular activating system. This happens to people who are very intelligent, who have all their shit together, they're intelligent. It happens to people, it's the psychological term known as a scotoma. So when we go over our goals in the morning, we visualize. This reconditions the reticular activating system, the RAS, to see the opportunities to get you to your goals. Because there's opportunities around us every single day. There's always a way to make anything happen. If you have that desire, there's always a way. And what happens is, as you do this every single morning, I also recommend people do this at night, especially too, because your brain goes over stuff while you're sleeping. And that's very powerful. When you do this, it conditions your mind to see the opportunities that can eventually get you where you want to go. So I say, set your goals 2 years out, read these 5 goals in the morning. After you're start drinking your water, read these goals out, visualize, and you start getting your mind to see the opportunities that can get you there. It should take you 10 to 15, 20 minutes to do that. It's very important. Then the third thing you do as you're doing this is you do deep diaphragmatic breaths. Now, I don't think it's by default that I have a lot of energy. I don't think it's by default that I'm literally outperforming people in the gym who are literally half my age. I mean, I'm not here to brag about this, but I'm just telling you the truth, that these habits have brought me to a certain level of physical vitality, and it's not my genes. It's because I've studied what it takes and understood the habitual habits that can take me to help outperform where I was and just have that edge in life in every way. So, there's people my age I see who are deteriorating, they're out of shape, they're having problems with their knees, bad health, they're tired. A lot of my weightlifting partners are up to snuff with me, but I'm literally out there outperforming people in the gym who are 20 years younger than me. Literally lifting more, doing better than these kids who are 20 years younger, and it's not by default. It's because I know these habits are very important. And the most important thing to do is deep diaphragmatic breaths in the morning. Now, the breaths I do is a technique that's taught by Tony Robbins. And as you're visualizing and going over your goals, you take in 10 seconds of breath as you take in the air. So you count, you literally count. 1, 2, as you're taking in air. 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 10, to your complete lung capacity. Then you hold it for 30 seconds. And it may be hard at first, but as you do this, you'll get used to it. Now, this is while you're visualizing. So you hold it for 30 seconds, and you count all the way to 30, and then as you let out for 15 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, going down, let it out, 15 more seconds. And what this does is it starts to get more oxygen going in your blood. It helps the lymph system. The lymph system is your drainage. It's what drains out toxins. And again, you start to feel better. You're more effective. You'll find yourself more sharp. And it's just that thing that can really get you moving in the morning. And just do, for now, I do 9 sets of this, but start off with 3 sets of this every morning just to get the pattern going. And for me, this also helps me with my speaking and singing, gets my diaphragm going. If I have to sing with a band, I don't have to warm up with my voice anymore because I do these deep diaphragmatic breaths in the morning. And once again, it helps the drainage system, the lymph system, to continue that process of releasing toxins. So these are just 3 simple things that you could start off in your morning ritual. Today's video, I just really wanted to get across to you about how important this is and how much this can change your life. So be on the lookout for other videos from me that will get more in depth about this. And I just want to thank you so much. If you like the video, if you like the information, click like and subscribe. Go to my website, bradleylenart.com, and get on the mailing list and become part of the family. We'll see you next time.